Hello, everybody, and welcome welcome back to the Planet Film Network. I am one of your hosts, Sean Monk.
I'm your host, TJ Cornwell, and tonight we'll be just quickly talking about Hawkeye episode 1 and 2 that premiered this past Wednesday. If you're joining us also, there's obviously been a hiatus of the past 2 weeks. I've basically just been taking a break for the past few weeks to get my schoolwork done, basically. And we had guests lined up, and some things kind of fell through, so we just kind of haven't been back for 2 weeks.
What? Hang on.
Oh, can't.
Somebody said can't hear TJ. He's coming through. He's coming through on the mix.
Coming?
Yeah.
I'm coming through on my YouTube. I just listened to myself. I can maybe turn myself up.
Yeah, she said barely.
Okay. Hold on. Sorry, my computer's freaking out. All right, I raised my shit to like 100% for thing, so hopefully this is better. Again, I think a lot of times she's listening on the TV. The TV has an awful mix for some reason for me. So that might be it. It might sound better on your phone, Danielle. Maybe.
Nice. Whoa. Shout out to 7 people watching. Welcome, everybody.
A lot quieter than Sean on my end. Yeah, it might be the TV. I don't know. Because she says that happens a lot on the TV, but when I listen on my phone, we're not equal, but I sound louder, so I don't know.
Well, I turned myself a little bit down and you a little bit up, so maybe that will help things.
Maybe that'll help.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we've been kind of gone the past few weeks. Getting back this Tuesday, Sean will be on with Danielle to do a show, and then the week after that, I will be back, and we will be on with Brandon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Back to Wednesday. Yeah.
Yeah, what was I just going to say? Oh, yeah. So I'll just say, too, if you guys are watching right now and you guys tune in for our live shows and everything and want to tune in on Tuesday night, and like TJ said, it'll just be a one-time thing on Tuesday night just so that we could get Danielle in because she records her show on Wednesdays. The topic I'll reveal here, if anybody wants to send in their suggestions or tweet at us, or email us, guys. We want to start getting people to email in their thoughts and everything so that we can kind of keep it nice and orderly. It's just planetfilmpod@gmail.com. But the topic will be in honor of 2 things. In honor of Tick, Tick, Boom coming out on Netflix, a big musical of this year, as well as the unfortunate passing of Stephen Sondheim. Yeah, so we are going to be breaking down our top 10 movie musicals. And I'm pretty sure I'm getting that correct. I know it's movie musicals, not just like not just stage musicals adapted to movies. It could just be, any movie that's a musical, so not necessarily an adaptation. But yeah, so join us on Tuesday for that, and then like TJ said, he will be back the following week. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. So this is Planet Reviews, as you guys can see. And as you guys can tell by the thumbnail and the title, we are finally going to be jumping into the first 2 episodes of Hawkeye on Disney+, which are now out. Now this series obviously sees Jeremy Renner return to the role, as well as obviously Haley Steinfeld. Haley Steinfeld coming in finally as Kate Bishop, big character from the comics. And there's a lot of stuff from the comics, straight from the comics, that is in this show that I feel like we'll definitely talk about in a little bit here. But basically, just a series based on Marvel Comics superhero Hawkeye, centering on the adventures of younger Avenger Kate Bishop, who took the role after the original Avenger Clint Barton. So, yeah. Let's go ahead and let's start with TJ's initial thoughts. And everybody, let us know. Start typing your thoughts in the chat. You guys know the rundown.
We're talking first episode first, right? Obviously.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, we could do first one, second one, and then just a discussion. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, for the first episode, I liked it. I didn't love it. My biggest problem for me for the first episode was I just felt like there was a lot of stuff going on and I didn't know what was happening. Like the whole kind of like oh, we're at this party thing, and now we're underneath in this underground thing, and then we have what's his name making threats to Vera Farmiga's character, and this whole thing. And then we have what's his name, Tony Dalton, like he's down there with his uncle, I guess, and and then the Tracksuit Mafia breaks in. It's this whole thing. Like I feel like it was a lot happening. And I was like, what, where? And then of course we have Hawkeye kind of, and he's kind of in the background more. Clint Barton is definitely not in the first episode as much as he is in the second episode, and I think that is also something that I hope the show's called Hawkeye, but I hope we get more Clint Barton than we do Kate Bishop, because I feel like I get it's kind of supposed to be a passing of the torch type show, but I'm gonna need more Hawkeye. Like it can't be like a lot of, it can't be all Kate Bishop.
You don't want him to be sidelined in finally his own standalone project.
Because I told you this would be the thing for me to make me care about that character. You know? Because again, like I said in Endgame, like I didn't really care. Even though nothing really, he didn't die in Endgame or anything, but again, I think he suffers from the Black Widow syndrome for me, where it's like they didn't have their own thing, so like I don't really care that much. I thought the action was good in that first episode with that action scene down kind of underground and everything. I thought it was pretty funny, and yeah, I thought it was a good start. I didn't think it was great, but yeah, that was my thought on the first episode. Those are my thoughts on the first episode.
Nice. I will say I feel like I had a bit of a different reaction. I really enjoyed it. I really liked almost every reason you gave that gave you hesitation was almost exactly what I loved about it. Like, I love the fact that we just like jumped right in, just like, we're just learning characters as they come, getting used to the situation that we're already in type of thing. Because I think that's a lot of, that's Clint and Kate's kind of, point of view of the situation is they're being kind of, dumped into this situation that they don't know what's going on. And I think, again, like most of these Marvel shows, almost every single one of them, every single one of them has been their main genre and then also like a mystery. Every single one of the series has had a mystery so far. And I'm very excited to see, what's going on, who did, well, I guess, should we just jump right into spoilers, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, so like who did kill, Armand the Third? You know what I mean? Like, was it Tony Dalton or was it maybe Kate's father, who, in the opening scene, he dies in the Battle of New York, or dies, is he back? Is he doing these things? Is it maybe Vera Farmiga's character? Or is it like the obvious choice of, Jack Duquesne, like Tony Dalton's character, swordsman from the comics? Is it the more obvious choice, or is there something more going on? I really like that. And then I also really enjoy, like you said, absolutely Clint Barton. I feel like screen time wise, he gets a good amount in the first episode. It's not connected to anything. He doesn't join the kind of driving story until literally the last scene. Because then he finally, meets Kate, and then we're kind of off on our adventure. Him in the first episode is more just like we're just kind of following what's going on with him, where he's at kind of mentally more, because you get, those views, the funniness and stuff of the musical, of Rogers the Musical, but then also you get in that, he clearly has major PTSD over Nat still. Which obviously he's going to have that for the rest of his life. Like, but like, I really liked getting kind of a peek into where he's at. And again, just the frustration of he's trying to put this life behind him. He's tried so many times to retire, like, and then of course he just gets dragged back into it again. Very Michael Corleone. But yeah, like stylistically, and I felt the humor worked for me too. I really enjoyed the first episode. Yeah. I mean, I don't think when we wrap up the series, we're going to say, oh, that first one's the strongest episode. I don't think that at all. But I think it was a very strong, I think it was a strong opening and strong showing. And I do get when people are like, it's boring just because it's very slow paced. The first episode is very slow paced. But yeah, actually, just as I said that, Michelle Ronan, I loved the pace. It felt like it started out quick with the action, especially with Kate. I agree with that too. I feel like the actual story started slow, but we did get a lot of action right at the top, like in things like, Loki and in WandaVision. It kind of took a while to get to action. You know what I mean? It was very, kind of methodical, just kind of going through the motions for a while. In WandaVision's case, it took until the finale to get an action sequence. Well, I shouldn't say an action sequence. Like, there was the truck and stuff, but like, an actual fight. So in this, we kind of hit that right off the bat, which I really liked. And I liked that you felt, okay, Kate Bishop is a person that trained her body, got all of her skills up to this excellent level, and she just gets, creamed by these guys. She just gets wiped out by these guys. And then you see, Clint come in, and it's like, yeah, next to Thor, he's not much of a threat. But, next to the everyday person, or not even the everyday person, a trained, hyper vigilant person like Kate Bishop, he is still easily the best fighter in the room. He could take down anybody. You know what I mean? I liked seeing that because it kind of gave you, it's like, okay, this is what this guy brings to the table. Like, he might not bring, it'd be the same thing as like, Daredevil being next to Thor. Like, okay, what's that guy going to do? You know what I mean? But it's like, no, they do have their purpose. They serve their purpose with the abilities that they have. And I think the first episode really highlighted that, especially towards the end of it.
Something I'm hoping that we get, and this is very obviously, she towards the end, or with the whole action scene, she's got like the whole Ronin costume on, and that's how Hawkeye is kind of like, who the hell is this? I think he sees it on the news, if I'm correct, because it's like, oh, Ronin is returned. And he's like, who the fuck is wearing this costume?
Yeah.
I hope we get something, some sort of backstory. Like some sort of flashback, maybe a few here and there, because they play it off, and I think they might talk about it more in the second episode, but they talk about how Hawkeye has made, or Ronin made a lot of enemies, and people see that suit and they feel some type of way and they immediately want to go after. And you're telling me this, but I don't know what he did, I don't, and I hope that we get some sort of flashback in that aspect. So, like, I don't know why the Traxxas Mafia wants to go at why they don't like Ronin, Like, I'm going to need something to,
not just telling, but showing type of thing.
Yeah, don't tell me, show me. Right, yeah. Exactly. And I'm hoping that's the thing. I don't know if, again, it's only 6 episodes, so we only have so much time. But yeah, I'm hoping I get a little bit more of that because, again, me personally, I don't know much. I don't really know anything about Ronin. I saw him as Ronin in Endgame for 2 seconds, and I've seen Ronin in this show, and that's about it. I don't have any comment.
What I could absolutely see, which, by the way, it completely slipped my mind that for all of Endgame, besides the time travel suit, he's wearing the Ronin costume.
Okay, yeah.
Like, when they do the time travel and everything, like, that's what, like, I forgot that he doesn't change, like, I think he changes before the final battle. He changes when Hulk's about to snap. But up to that point, like, with the time travel and everything, like, he's still wearing that. Because I was like, I thought for some reason it was just, he wore that, and then when Nat brought him back to the Avengers compound, he was just wearing something different. But yeah, I think what we could see in this, because it is only 6 episodes, I think what we could see is definitely a full flashback episode, like a full Clint, full Ronin, full Blip, flashback episode to kind of pad things out, see how it ties in with the Tracksuit Mafia, see how it ties into Echo possibly, and we'll talk about in a second how it possibly ties into who is probably the actual big bad of this series, which is very awesome. But yeah, all right, do you want to move on to just our overall thoughts on episode 2, and then we can kind of talk about where we think things might be going?
Yeah, just real quick, I want to say, like, another thing, like, in the first episode, you know how they're, like, obviously, like, they're bidding on all this stuff, you know, clearly these are all wealthy people down there, and we're bidding on all this random kind of Avengers-related, you know, stuff, you know, with the Ronin and the sword, and, forget, what was the first thing? Do you remember?
It was like a giant, like, dinosaur head. It was a giant dinosaur skull.
Never mind. Okay. I was going to go on this whole thing about, like, I don't know how they got all this stuff, but if it's, like, not specific to, you know, Avengers and whatever characters, then it's not really that big of a deal. I'll let it pass that.
Well, I just assumed, because it said reclaimed, or it either said reclaimed or salvaged from the, you know, wreckage of the Avengers compound. So what I figured was that there's probably somebody at Damage Control that's just like selling stuff that they find. Like that's what I figured. But yeah, no, I get what you mean. It was a little convenient that like Kate Bishop would be at this thing that, like, you know, they're just happen to be auctioning off, you know, Hawkeye's stuff. But I do kind of like, and I do feel like one thing that is going to have to be addressed in this show is I do like that the reveal that no one knows that he was Ronin. Right. I mean, at this point, we don't even know which Avengers know. The only ones that we know for sure knew were Nat and Rhodey, because Rhodey was out looking for Clint, and Nat knew it was Clint the whole time. So, like, other than that, we don't know if anybody knew, which, you know, is interesting. I wonder if that'll come up. But in terms of the general public, no one knows. So I'm thinking maybe something that he's going to have to deal with, because, you know, we're seeing all this stuff of, like, you know, you saved our city. You know, he's kind of you know, cool with the amount of attention he gets and the amount of praise that he gets. And I'm just now me talking, I kind of am realizing, at first I was like, oh, he's just, you know, kind of, he's a nice guy, so he doesn't want all the attention. He just doesn't want his meals free and stuff like that. But then I just thought, what if it's because he feels like he's failed the city? Like, he feels like he's not living up to what they view Hawkeye as, because he knows all the killing and really just murdering that he did as Ronin. Like, right. He's like, I have this whole other side of me that nobody knows about, you know what I mean, that kind of died with the blip, that, you know, he kind of, maybe there's a little bit of like a, not a survivor's guilt, but like a, I feel like I got away with all this stuff and I shouldn't have. Like, I feel like I haven't paid my due for the time that I was Ronin. Like, that to me would be interesting if we could dive into that. His guilt of kind of, you know, what he did. I think that would be cool. Now, again, that's kind of hard to do when it's not just a Clint Barton-centric story. It is trying to set up Kate Bishop. It is diving deep into her stuff, and it's only 6 episodes. You know what I mean? And we've already seen 2 of them. Yeah, like, I mean, there really isn't, even though it just started, there really isn't much of this show left. I mean, it'll be over by Christmas, which is pretty crazy. But
wow, that is crazy.
Yeah. But then we have Book of Boba Fett to look forward to, so woohoo. Yeah. Anything else on the first episode that you?
No, that's all I got for the first one. Yeah, for the second one, I liked the second one more. I thought it was a better episode.
Okay.
I thought all the action was great. The Tracksuit Mafia kind of, you know, I'm assuming following her. I'm not really sure how they kind of, I mean, although her name was on the, right, she said her name was on the buzzer, so I guess that's how they found her. Something like that.
Yeah, that was funny.
Well, I don't think about it. How did they find her if she had the Ronin suit on? Did they know that was her? I'm trying to remember.
They just followed her.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah, they just followed her. Yeah. One question I did have about that though was like,
yeah,
is she the only apartment there? Because I was like, I was like, my name's on the buzzer. Yeah, I guess so. Like, I guess it's a loft, maybe. So yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was figuring. Yeah, I thought the action was great. Again, I thought all the acting was great. I thought I liked the whole kind of LARPing type thing where you had to get
that was funny.
Get the costume back. I liked kind of him like looking on social media and seeing that like somebody's like, oh yeah, I'm so cool, like I'm a ninja, blah blah blah, and then he like has to fight him, like, you know, I thought that was really funny. One thing that I was like, and Daniel kind of like tried to explain it to me, and I was like, I don't know if I completely buy it, where you know how they like, he's like, he gives her his phone number, it's like just for emergencies. And obviously, he later in the episode, he goes and gets himself caught on purpose to talk to whoever the boss is. I forget her name.
Yeah.
And she like gets in the taxi, and she like just happens. She has this security app because, you know, they run a security company. Her mom. She types in the security app and it's like track phone. And I'm like, that's like I don't know if I buy that. Like, I don't know if it's that. I get it's secure. I get it, but it's like. That's just not something I buy into. I don't know.
Yeah,
if that's
I only caught that on the rewatch. I was like, how does she like find him again? I forgot, and then I was like, that's really the reason.
Yeah, and again, I think it's you need a tool to kind of get, you know, a tool to get her there and find him. I mean, you can't. Again, it's only 6 episodes, so you can't have her a whole episode her looking for him. You know, you're trying to tell a bigger story here, obviously. Mm-hmm. But that was something where I was just like, maybe we could have found a better way to do this. I her just opening her phone, logging in, and then all of a sudden it's tracking his phone. I was just like, I don't buy that. Maybe like, you know, like somehow they both have although I don't think either phone is, or at least his phone is an iPhone. So I'd be like, you could do a little Find My Friends thing. You could just do it that way. That I would get. I thought I liked the scene where they were fencing against each other.
Yeah.
And then the whole kind of reveal with although granted, I didn't really get it. Daniel got it, but I was like, what, the butterscotch? I was like, I don't even remember when that happened. Do you remember in the first episode?
Yeah, because she points it out because she's like custom butterscotch. What the hell? Like,
where was it though?
It was in Armand's apartment. Yeah, it was right next to his body. Okay, yeah.
Gotcha. Interesting. Okay. So I'm interested to see what his kind of role is in all of this, Tony Dalton. Because it seems to me that, you know, the Tracksuit Mafia is kind of and their boss are kind of the maybe overall villains, but I'm interested to see what Tony Dalton's kind of role is and everything, because I feel like he's not affiliated with them at all. And maybe how he, you know, I'm not sure where Vera Farmiga, you know, ends up in all this either.
And I think maybe the answer is what we can kind of pivot to talking about, which is the rumored big bad of this show that would link, you know, Swordsman and, you know, Tony Dalton and Echo and the Tracksuit Mafia and everybody all together, is Wilson Fisk.
Oh, right, yeah.
That's the rumor that, well, I would say more than rumor. That's the, you know, who rumored is going to be appearing at the end of episode 4 and showing up.
Is it episode 4?
That's apparently that it's the end credit on episode 4 is when he's revealed, and then he's going to be, you know, full swing in episodes 5 and 6. That's why I figured too they might do like a WandaVision thing where maybe the penultimate episode is going back in time and showing, you know, a kind of his time as Ronin / setting up, you know, his time as Ronin and how it affected Wilson Fisk and kind of how the two of them have crossed paths, that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, that would be the logical choice, because like Maya, aka Echo, who's, you know, we got the reveal of at the end of the second episode, that's like his adoptive daughter, and, you know, he has run / worked with the Tracksuit Mafia before, also has worked with, Eleanor Bishop, as well as, Kate's father, who I still believe, is probably alive. Because they're talking about how are we going to get out of your debts and all this stuff. And then he just happens to die and we never see any body or anything like that.
Right.
Also, in a less story driven way, I just believe that he's still alive because that actor has been at all the press junkets, and you're not at all the press junkets if you're in the first 5 minutes of a show.
Yeah.
So like that to me also was a little. Okay, you're probably also the actor himself. He's not a small actor. I mean, he's a main character. He plays the dad in 13 Reasons Why, and also I don't know in the, multiple Oscar nominated film Spotlight. He's like one of the main 5 characters. Like so, he's no slouch himself. So I think he's definitely going to come back and do it. But, in terms of tying it all together, I have, again, with all these shows, I have no doubt with Kevin Feige that, all these shows sometimes can go off in their little tangents and their little directions, but they always, for me at least, have come back around to a satisfying conclusion, with maybe the exception of Loki, but that was less of... Loki, the ending of Loki wasn't unsatisfying. It was just there's more to tell. You know what I mean? So that was a little different. But yeah.
Brian Darcy James, Shrek on Broadway.
Do not tell me that Brian Darcy James was the original Shrek. I had no idea. I had absolutely no idea.
That's Danielle was like, that guy looks so familiar, and she was like, oh, that guy, Shrek on Broadway. I was like, oh. I realized that. I was like, I knew he looked familiar, but I didn't even put Spotlight into it. I never even.
Yeah, I am so glad. I mean, you know how much I love Spotlight. So like, I was over the moon when I found out that like he was going to be playing her dad. Because again, I mean, Spotlight's easily in my top 3 movies of all time, but also his big scene specifically where he has the realization of he's running through the street and it's just the acting just on his face with no dialogue. I'm like, oh my God, that guy, I would watch anything that guy's in, and I had no idea that he was Shrek on Broadway. That is amazing. He's definitely got the eyebrows for it. Also, a question for you. Actually, you already hinted at this a little bit when I saw you earlier today, but what do you think about the painfully glaring mix of, I don't know if it's paint, hair dye, or wigs on the Bishop family, of especially in the flashback of the like jet black hair on all of them, like Via Farmiga's wig.
I don't even remember the flashback that much, but every time I see Vera Farmiga like currently on screen, in like present day, I'm like, that looks it looks bad. Like I said to you, like it just makes your like forehead look like 10 times larger than I'm pretty sure it actually is.
Yeah.
And I just hope they can fix it. I hope it gets fixed. It probably doesn't, but
like I told you, I thought the wig in the flashback really helped her out a lot more because it was like a flowing like hair type of thing. Yeah. We want Rogers the Musical, and honestly, Danielle, I would say within the next 5 years, I could 100% seeing that being a reality. Whether it's a Disney Plus, production like they did kind of with Hamilton, or whether it's an actual stage production that you can go and see and then tours and stuff. I very honestly, I could 100% see them really doing it, which is awesome. But yeah, like Michelle said, they definitely wanted them to be more comic accurate with the hair. Yeah, like especially if you go back and like rewatch the flashback with Brian Darcy James, his eyebrows and his hair are literally painted black. Like it is so funny. Like, and also Haley Steinfeld, she has dark hair, but it's dark brown hair. In this, it is like Severus Snape level blue black, like black hair. And that brings me to another thing I wanted to talk about with the show overall is the comic book accurateness of it. I think everybody's been talking about how Phase 4 so far has been so comic accurate with the suits, and it's almost like Kevin Feige went after Endgame, we can do anything, so you might as well just rip it straight from the page, which that is not a critique. Sign me up. I think Sam's new suit is beautiful. I think, all that stuff, the comic accurate stuff is great. But especially in this show, clearly with the promotional material, we see that Clint is going to get his straight out of the comic book, purple suit. Kate's already in her comic book accurate suit, from the first episode. And then also with the tracksuit mafia and stuff, with the bro and all the way that they talk and their interactions with each other, straight out of the comics. All that stuff. Also, Tony Dalton himself. I mean, that mustache. That is. I don't know how you would. So my roommate Brianna is watching the show with me, and I showed her a picture of Swordsman in the comics with the mustache coming out, because he's wearing his swordsman outfit, but then the mustache goes over the outfit because the mustache is so big. Okay. And she was like, that cartoon looks like that man. Literally, Tony Dalton is just so perfect in it. And also, I just want to talk a little bit more about Tony Dalton. He is so great in this. He is just chewing up the scenery, and just bringing it every episode. I live to see his scenes. He is so good in this. And I really hope that there's a big, role for him. I really hope that it's a big dramatic, type of thing, with his character in the end. But yeah, I would say overall the first 2 episodes, I think it got off to a great start for me. I'm not going to say a perfect start or an amazing start or anything like that. I think it got off on a great foot. And I'm really excited to see what the remaining 4 episodes have to hold.
Yeah.
But yeah.
One other thing I want to say about the second episode that didn't really totally work for me was the whole kind of.
You said that didn't?
Yeah. Well, I did like the whole fencing scene. Her whole kind of thing where she knows that he's lying about something, and the way that she kind of tries to prove that he's lying is because he lied about being good at fencing. That just kind of did not hold for me.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. Where it's just kind of I feel like that just those don't correlate. It's I feel like Vera Farmiga's no, he's not lying. And you fencing him and him, be lying and be oh no, I'm actually good. That doesn't mean that he's lying about being a terrible person that.
Yeah.
Just because he lies to you, a 22-year-old, about being good at fencing and maybe underestimating you in some way, shape, or form, that does not mean
that he killed his uncle.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah. Necessarily. Now he still could have.
He could have.
But
yes.
I personally, so let's go with that. I will say I personally am leaning that I don't think it was him. I think it's going to be a twist that it maybe was Vera Farmiga or was maybe her father.
Well, it was clearly a sword slash. So
so that's why I think maybe a framing to make it look like it was Jack.
Interesting.
What do you think?
I just think it was him because he took the sword. You know what I mean? Unless they do the whole thing where they do a flashback and it's he gave the sword to someone else, or the whole thing kind of that sometimes work depending on I feel what the thing is. It can work and it cannot. Yeah, but I'm full in on him because I just that was the last person I saw had the sword or somebody else has some sword.
Yeah,
but he is also his character is the swordsman. So
Also, another thing that Danielle just sent me that I saw on TikTok that's kind of blowing up on TikTok is the visual effects for the texting. Have you noticed that?
No.
This is them texting. They just go.
With one finger?
No, with 2 fingers, but they just tap in the same spot. And it's texting full paragraphs. And it's they're literally not even attempting to make it look correct. But yeah, let's see, what is this? Oh yeah, Michelle says, I think her father killed him. There has to be a reveal / reason for him not to be dead. Yeah, like I said, I think it's very clear that, like, you know, in the first scene that we see them in, they're talking about how they have all these money troubles and what are they going to do about his debts and how are they going to, you know, that kind of stuff. So it seems like they were really teeing it up for, you know, a faking of his death, and then the attack on New York just kind of sealed the deal.
Right.
Yeah. Let's see. Also, her texts are sus. If I was his wife and saw them, I'd be like, excuse me? Yeah, I agree. But yeah. Yeah. So is there anything else anybody you like to bring up or anything like that? Or TJ, what are some things that you hope that we're kind of leading towards or hope we end up, you know, seeing?
Well, obviously we know Florence Pugh is in this show, so I'm interested to see kind of what her and Kate.
She's apparently going to show up next episode.
Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah. So I'm interested to see kind of how she, you know, I'm assuming this is going off of being told that Hawkeye killed Natasha.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm interested to see kind of where this goes. I hope. Again, I don't think this is gonna. Again, this is something that I think you would agree is a little weird. Is the whole like, and I think everybody had this question after Black Widow at the end, where it's like, how does she even know that they were with each other? When you know what I mean? Like, how where do you get that? You know, but I'm interested to see kind of what the interaction is going to be, and I'm assuming that this is just gonna. I don't know if this will be the end of Jeremy Renner as his character. You know, do you think so?
I don't know. I think if anything, actually, I was thinking about this when I was rewatching the second episode. What I would actually want to see is after this series, have Kate go and join the Young Avengers, do that whole bit. Give me a Hawkeye season 2 that's just Clint. You know what I mean? Have her be in, and I don't mind if they did a Hawkeye season 2 that's the two of them again. I don't mind that at all. But I'm just saying, if she's gonna be spun off in her own movies and stuff, you know, give me something that's maybe it's something where, you know, somebody finds out where his house is, and the whole season is just, you know, them trying to escape or them trying to get out or so. You know, give me something like that that really just highlights him, what he can do. You know, the family dynamic, all that stuff. I think that would be really, really cool. But again, like I said, but either way, I don't think this will be the end for him. Just because it's not really rumored that it's going to be the end for him at all. Like, which is kind of surprising to me, actually, because I feel like anytime there's a project like this, they're like, yep, it's, you know, Renner's contract is up. But in this, it's just like, you know, check out the next thing that Hawkeye's in. So, but maybe that's where they'll surprise us, and it really might be the end for him.
Right.
But if I had to go with my gut right now, I would say no. I think he's got some stuff left in him to do.
Gotcha. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for the rest of the show, and I hope it keeps getting better. You know, I hope it doesn't kind of plummet.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. Yeah. Awesome. All right. So I think that'll do it. Then Michelle says, I would love to see Fisk go after the family. Yeah, maybe it's something that, you know, after they kind of deal with this, maybe we get sort of a team up, you know, Marvel Knights show with, like, maybe it's like Hawkeye, Daredevil, you know, Moon Knight, those kind of like lower level kind of like street superheroes. I think that would be really cool. Maybe if we see that, like, kind of almost like a Defenders show, but Disney Plus instead of the Netflix characters.
More Linda Cardellini, please.
Yeah. I would even just be fine with the amount that we've gotten her, but in every episode. Like, I don't want to have an episode where he doesn't check in. But yeah. Yeah, so I think that'll do it for this. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. We'll be doing these, every weekend. At some point on the weekend, we're going to aim for, at some point Saturday or Sunday. But we will let you guys know. And like we talked about kind of at the top of the show, Planet Film Live will be back this Tuesday for 1 week only on Tuesday, because we are going to be having Danielle on. I am going to be having Danielle on. TJ's got another week off, working on his schoolwork during the week, and then he will be back the following week, back on Wednesdays, and then back, a regularly scheduled program going forward. And we have a lot of great scheduled programs on that scheduled program coming up. We have a lot of stuff pre-planned out for the remainder of the year, and we hope that you guys will tune in and join us for those. So yeah, the last thing I'll say, make sure to follow us at the official PFN on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and that'll do it for me. I'm one of your hosts, Sean Monk. TJ, you want to close us out with whatever you want to say?
Yeah, it was your other host, TJ Cornwell. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you thought of the 2 episodes of Hawkeye in the comments below. Like Sean said, catch us Tuesday, or Sean and Danielle. And then the following week after, back to Wednesday times at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then check out some of the reaction videos we have on the channel already.
Oh, yeah.
And we will see you next time.
Oh, and a quick PSA to everybody. In about 1 hour, 16 minutes, get clicking for your Spider-Man tickets. And don't... I am with Brandon Davis on this and the official No Way Home Twitter account. It's great if you got your tickets. Don't share your screenshots online. Your tickets can be harvested and refunded. So don't share your screenshots, or if you do, blur out the confirmation number. That's like trending on Twitter right now because so many people have done that with big movie releases. Don't share your things.
Definitely not the confirmation number.
Yeah, not the confirmation number or the QR code. All right, that'll do it. Everybody, have a great night. We'll catch you next week.
Yeah. See ya.